the Skip Frye surfboard, specifically the egg. The Skip Frye surfboard is, in my opinion, the most finely crafted wave riding vehicle that's ever been made. Most people don't even get to see, let alone ride, a Skip Frye surfboard in their lifetime. So I'm incredibly grateful and stoked to fix this board up and see how it rides. Unlike the last video I made, where I wasn't sure how the vintage pop-out would surf, I'm certain that this will be one of the best riding mid-lengths that I've ever been on. And if you know who this is and who made it, then you'll understand why I'm so confident in that. And if you don't know who Skip Frye is, I'll explain a little bit more about why this is such a special surfboard. So why should you care about the surfboard with the wings on it? It's literally just a crusty old surfboard. Skip is probably my favorite shaper. There's a photo of him on the wall over there. And part of it is because of what he's contributed to surfing. Part of it is about who he is, how he's carried himself, the fact that he's been making boards for over 60 years. There's a lot to it, but then there's little things. You know, I saw a photo of this 12-foot Stanley tape on his shelf, and it made no sense to me because he makes 12.6 and 13-foot boards. Why don't you just use the 25-foot tape? So I bought one, and it's the only tape that hangs under its own weight when you put it off the side of a rail. There's just little things that, you know, I've met Skip and I didn't know it was him, and I'll get into that, but you don't have to meet somebody to appreciate something that they put their entire life into learning. Why this is better. You just trust it, you know. I may sound over the top, but Skip Frye designed this type of board. He took the Fish, the most iconic surfboard, from a kneeboard that Steve Liss made in San Diego, where Skip's from, and made it into a stand-up board that Tom Curran and then Derek Hind and all these people made super famous. He designed the glider, you know, his own need for riding a big open face wave and going really fast and turning. Skip makes magic boards. It's really cool to touch one, you know, and know that he had his hand in making this. And maybe even glassing it. I don't know a lot about the Diamond Frye. I'm gonna have to ask around and do a little bit of research. The guy, my friend that gave this to me, said that he maybe got it in the late 70s or mid 80s, but he really doesn't remember. Let's get into the condition of this board, what it is and what it needs to get fixed to get back into the ocean, because I can't wait to surf this thing. It's going to be really cool. It's a 7.4 thruster with glass on, 3-fin setup. The side fins have quite a bit of a cant to them. It's crusty. It's literally just been sitting for a really long time. It was ridden really well. Someone surfed it, and they surfed it good. It's incredibly light. It's super lightweight, which makes me think it's 4-ounce glass. It's a 7.4. The serial numbers 5043 means nothing to me. It has quite a panel V off of the tail. The few people I've showed this to have said the same thing, that the rail feels like 3 different surfboards, where the tail is so hard. It's a shocker how much of a hard edge is on the end of this. It feels like a shortboard from here back. The middle of this board feels like, I don't know, just a down rail board, but not like that era, because it's very refined. It has quite a bit of volume through the deck and still has a little bit of roll to the rail. And then it's just a full-on displacement nose, where it's just rolled. it's just so cool to see Skip was doing that like so long ago. And that's what everybody pulls influence from. Original masterclass shapers like Skip and Donald Takayama, you know, they were taught from the guys who kind of invented the process. Let's get into fixing it. I would really like to keep this as light as I possibly can, just because it already is very light. Looks like that fin might have, oh boy, and that one, and that one. So it might take a little bit of work. Let's check out the condition. Get up in here. The tail is crunched and surfed a little bit like that, so water damage. There's that leash cup that's offset. This rail has a pretty nasty old goober gobber that's just, yeah, gonna crust right off when you pick at it. Big gouge in the rail, probably from a rack it was sitting on. There's the diamond fry. And then we have a giant zit to pop here. It's an old wax-filled, nasty repair. So, at least it was repaired. The nose needs some loving. Pretty much everything needs some loving on this board. There's this nasty one. And this is probably the sketchiest one of the entire board. I'm going to need to put a layer of cloth all the way around that, just because it must have had a really bad impact to crack all the glass like that, and since it's lightweight glass, I'm going to need to put a patch of 4 ounce over it just to make sure that it's good and strong, because I plan on riding this thing. That's pretty bad. And then that's also a ding. It's tough to see, but there's these micro cracks on each of the fins. So, going to need to address that as well. I give it like a 6 out of 10 condition, where you're like, wow, it doesn't seem bad. And you're like, yeah, but there's 40 little dings. Time to fix it and then surf it. There we go. Alright, so now that I have that raised up, it'll be a lot easier to get it with the sander and the grinder. This rail is crunched. Oh man. That cloth is all dead right there. This is gonna need a lot of work. I can just see the whole rail moving as I'm going over it. Things you don't want to see when you're doing ding repair. So I find for removing wax and old ding resin, chisel works best. It could be the worst too, because you could pitch it too far down and just stab into the board, which sometimes you need to do. But if you're just removing wax and you're kind of comfortable with a chisel, then you can just scrape that top layer off. And if you heard that, I hit the resin there, but that's also where a ding is, and there's a big bulge of cloth sitting there. If you just pour resin into a ding, it's not gonna fix it. It might keep it watertight for a little bit, but resin doesn't have much flex to it. The fiberglass is what gives it that strength, flex, and maneuverability. And then you need to cap it with resin over top of that. So we're gonna do it right and get it all cleaned up. Can surf it confidently in some New Jersey waves that it was meant to go into. This board was in a lot worse shape than I thought that it was initially. There are so many dings. It's like every time I found one, it's like, oh, there's another one right next to it. Just ended up sanding the rails completely down. Time to do some cloth and resin. Get funky. It was maybe the year or two after I dropped out of college and started making boards. I stayed with my brother on his sofa in San Diego and borrowed his big longboard and went and surfed it every day. And there were a lot of people on Skip Frye's, but they were all in their like 60s or 70s, and they were really good and surfing really far out the back, getting these incredible waves. And I got to know and be friendly with one of them, and we would share waves every once in a while. Kind of forgot about that actually. And he would nod me into some waves, and I'd go and I'd nod him in if I was further up the point. And if he wanted to go by himself, he would fade into me, and I would just back off, and he'd cut back and start turning real quick. I was like, whoa, that was crazy. No words said, but point taken. I was taking a nap one day, and I woke up kind of abruptly, and I looked up a photo of Skip Frye and felt so dumb that I had been talking with the guy for I don't even know how long, and just didn't realize that it was him. The next time I paddled out, I think I said to him, I know who you are now, and he laughed a little bit, and nothing really changed. It was pretty cool. I would shoot photos, and I was in the parking lot one day, and I said hi to him, and just asked if I could take a photo, and he was like, I got something you could take a photo of. And he pulled this purple, like, I forget, 11.6 glider out of his van, and he posed with it for a minute for me, and he told me about the new fins he just got that were extra small, and he told me like 20 things about surfboard design in a matter of 2 minutes. And I just kind of went, oh, okay, okay. And it just like got seared into my brain. But Skip is one of the originals. You know, he was taught by Diffendorfer, I guess. And he started making boards in 58. And this one, I believe, was made in 86 to 88 at the Diamond Factory in San Diego. So yeah, I just think it's pretty cool and has some personal sentiment to me knowing Skip made it, and it was in a different era of when I met and surfed with him, but he's still surfing and skating most days, if not every day, living the dream out there. So keep going for Skip. I think that's how we actually connected first. Is because, I lost my board, and he caught it halfway through on the inside. And it was this big old Dewey Weber or something. And he grabbed it and held on to it for me for a minute. And he lost his board once, and I did the same thing. He very rarely lost his board. I think I only saw him lose his board twice. It's like slowly starting to hit me that I'm actually going to get to surf this board. It is pretty cool. There's a hurricane happening right now, so I'm just hoping my shop doesn't get too much water.
You get the idea, right? I don't know how much sanding you need to see. Sanding. It's sanding.
Sanding. I was just gonna say I don't use 4 ounce all too often, so it's gonna be hard to find a big piece, but I didn't say that because it's not and I found one. Let me size it up before I cut it too short. Not like I've ever done that before. It's about 900% humidity in here, so it's what is recommended, I think. I don't know why flies love wet resin. Oh, might lose power again. It's like 60-mile-an-hour winds right now. Good time for some ding repair. This big patch I might actually use a squeegee on. Might. This is where I had all those stress cracks. And I tried to use, well, I didn't try, I used 4 ounce to keep it as light as I can. Hopefully we get some waves and not just a bunch of wind. Just get this all really saturated before it tacks up. And still gotta do the tail. Get out of here. I don't know if you can hear that wind on the camera or the microphone, but it is whipping. Oh, I hope I didn't just fill that leash cup full of resin. Nope. All right. I think I got them all. Oh, that was covered in resin. There's that giant chunk that I cut out and then had to put maybe 20 layers of cloth back on to fill it in. On round 2 of flooding. It's coming in good now. All right, so the board's ready for a hot coat. My glass room is currently filling with water like a Mission Impossible movie. There's like 2 to 6 inches of water inside the shop. Show you around for quick reference. There's a sawdust bin just floating on by. Whole bunch of water coming on through. So yeah, dealing with that right now. So that shouldn't affect anything, right? Got everything up off the ground. I've kind of just learned that I need to have everything off the ground all the time to have peace of mind in this shop anyway. Back to Skip Frye resin coats. 1000% humidity. I pulled up half the floor where it flooded on the earlier tide, but this tide's a little bit higher, so we will see. I did a patch on the entire nose and pretty much all of the rails and 5 or 6 spots on the bottom and probably 5 or 6 spots on the deck too. I kind of forget, but I've just tried to be as clean and minimal as possible as I've been doing things. And I'm really stoked on how it's come out. Totally forgot to move the camera again. Resin hands. How about that? How about that? Oh no. You might think this is insane. This might be insane, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some pretty good waves from this storm. It would be really cool if I had this board ready in time, and I think I'm going to. So, as long as I stop talking and my bucket of resin doesn't kick off. So this board is between 37 and 39 years old. From the sounds of it, I don't think it's been ridden for the past 30 plus years. Oh, that water's coming in quick now. She coming in quick. Can't make this up. Can I get the Skip Frye done before my shop floods? Tune in, we will see. Oh my gosh. There's probably like 8 inches of water in the shop right now. I might have to go check on some things in a second here. I just go thick on this resin. I don't think I've ever seen it this high in the shop before. This is pretty gnarly. There is so much water in here right now. Oh my gosh, the floor is like buckling up right now. This is gnarly. Oh God, maybe I shouldn't step on that. Abort. Whoa. I've never seen this much water in here before. The hot coat came out really nice though. Let me show you the river going down the hallway right now. Oh my God, the floor is moving. Without a doubt, the worst flooding that I've ever seen in the shop. Might still have another hour until high tide. Well, Skipper's doing good. Kinda speaks for itself right now. The last tide was pretty high, but this one's really high. I've been building shelves for my shop for like over a month now, and I'm very glad that everything's off the ground. It's not. Fine, you're just going on the chair then. You can get a better idea just how deep this water is. Skip Frye's still looking pretty good in there, so hopefully we get some waves, we can ride this thing. Bag of dirt in the glass room, no big deal. Flood update, it's supposed to be receding. Looks like it's about the same. Just still waiting it out. Life on a sandbar. Just gotta tear up all my floors and clean up. We'll get back to the Skip Frye. Came out good. It's not as bad as it's been in the past. Well, it's about 24 hours later. I got 12 inches of water in the shop. I wanted to film more, I guess, but I didn't because it was really stressful, to be honest. That was not fun. I was prepared for flooding, and the first tide went okay, but that second one just came up so much. The Skip Frye stayed on the rack. The floor that buckled in here has not gone down yet. Ooh, it did just kind of... Oh, that's such good news. I think the waves are pretty good right now. Sand this down and do the last layer of resin on the other side, because I would still really like to surf this board. That would be really cool. It's easy to get sidetracked. Everything I own and am working on is like getting flooded out. But just remember to have fun. What would Skipper do? I'm so glad that floor popped back down. Holy crap. I would love to be able to buy a brand new Skip Frye and have one made by Skip and see him again one day, but I'm more than happy to take one that has 40 dings on it and get it back in the water, because I know I'm not the only one that wants to see these things alive and surfed again. So let's get back to that. I'm just gonna put some really quick kick resin on it. Make sure that it's good to go and sand it at like 5 a.m. so I can surf at sunrise. Waves look pretty fun. So I'm gonna let that cure and wake up really early, sand it, and go surf. Thanks for hanging in there. This restoration definitely took a left turn when I thought we were just cruising, so we're getting there. 6 a.m. Gonna sand this board out, go surf. Alright, so I've got it ready. It definitely could use some more fine sanding and another layer of resin. In a couple of spots where that big gouge in the rail was, there's still like a tiny little divot. Honestly, looks good. Gotta put a leash loop on it, wax it, and get going. Go meet up with my buddy. Go ride it before it gets too low. Very stoked to ride this board. I don't think it's been ridden in over 30 years. There's good waves right now. My shop's finally not sopping wet, so let's make it happen. Go through for me, buddy. Thank you. Gotta have a leash longer than your board, or else you will experience whiplash. Alright, gonna do the final waxing up down on the beach. So is it just a beat up old board? Yes, but to me it's the coolest. Does it ride like any other old vintage board? No. It's so different. This board far surpassed my expectations. It was effortless to ride. It tracked so nicely down the faces. It was really steep and pitchy on a lot of these waves today. Because it's so light, it has this torsional flex to it that is really cool. And I was a little spooked at first because I didn't know how strong it was still, but man, it went so fast. It made it through and around sections that I didn't think that it would. You know, it's a magic board, which you hear a lot of people say about Skip Frye boards, but the design of it, how it moves through the water, how it's glassed, it all makes sense why he would do it this way. If you look at it, it just seems simple, seems kind of flat. Not a lot going on, but it just has everything going on that's right and nothing going on that's wrong. It's flat, it has a displacement nose and just a big panel V through the fin cluster and flat off the tail. I don't think it's been in the water in 30 years. So to go out on like a, bigger day, which is what this is meant for, and just put it right back into the paces was so cool. It was really an honor to be able to fix and ride this board. There was one guy in the water. He was like, "Oh, you're on one of your boards?" I was like, "No, it's a Skip Frye." And I kind of said it under my breath. He's like, "What are you doing out here on that? That should be on a wall." And I was like, "No, it should be ridden right now," which is why my buddy gave it to me. He's like, "I know you're going to ride it, and I know you're going to appreciate it." I do. It's really cool. Thank you for watching. On to the next board. Gonna keep fixing them up. I got tons of beat up old boards that I think are cool, and hopefully other people think are cool, and we will continue to ride them. See you again soon.